Picture, picture.
I can't
Big criminals in front of us, and by criminals I mean PD.
Yeah.
Big gang banging criminals.
Oh god, they are.
They wear that vest just for protection.
Why?
Yeah, I
How
thought
you
you guys
struggling
were with
so
the
bad?
state. What's going on?
No, what the fuck? I don't stand with pigs. What the fuck?
No, they're supporting Jade.
Yeah, we fucking
You
hate
said
pigs.
stateside, so.
Yeah, she did say she's for Jade.
Hey man,
Though.
how you doing?
Obviously, if you do,
Look at us. all
No
the
matter what
girls
happens
are
here,
girls.
I love you,
Yeah.
partner.
Yep.
We really do love this. The 6 girls supporting the girl and the 1 man supporting the men.
Typical.
My
She didn't
dad's
do
even
it.
over here.
Whatever
She
happened,
didn't
she
do it.
wins.
Yeah,
Even if she murders somebody, I don't care.
she didn't.
She
She's
didn't do
reformed.
it. Exactly. She's
Changed
having
woman.
a bad day, okay?
Are both parties ready to proceed?
Well, Your Honor, the plaintiff is ready. I don't know about the defendant.
We're ready, ma'am.
Be sure to shout, Mr. Beaumont.
Yeah, sorry, we're ready.
I didn't hear you, Mr. Beaumont.
I said we're ready.
Hey, you guys are on the wrong side.
Hey, speak from my chest. We are ready.
Okay, I appreciate that. Can everyone hear me
This is
clearly?
Jade's side.
Oh, right side, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe
Perfect.
this is
Guys.
Alright, so we are here to witness the civil lawsuit trial of Miss Onyx versus State. The plaintiff is Jade Onyx. Her legal representation is Benito Benitez. The state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Percival Beaumont. We will be beginning with opening statements. Mr. Benitez, would you like to come to the stand?
Absolutely.
You may proceed.
Well, Your Honor, today I'm representing Jade Onyx versus Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Ocean of SAST and Major Braden Reed of BCSO. The first sentence of our suit, notably the most important one, reads as follows: false imprisonment, defamation, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Today it's going to be very simple to prove to you that those claims are true and you will be ruling in our favor. We intend to prove to you these facts with a short video of a conversation between myself and the defendants and testimony from the defendants themselves. I do want to bring one thing up. The 2 officers that are behind me are highly decorative officers of our law enforcement community, and I highly respect them. What they did or may have not done is not a show of their character, but rather a fail of the way that they were trained and the way that their system was set up. On the other hand, you're going to have the defense putting on one hell of a show, as he has in his tantrums during our official communications via email, or the show he must have put on to the government as he pleaded to strip my client from her civil rights. They're going to try to make it seem so hard as if my client is a terrible person that committed this specific crime by plaguing you with her previous crimes. And let me tell you, don't get it confused, because this is not a murder trial. The defense had 14 days from the time of the crime being reported to file any criminal charges against my client, and they failed to do so after dropping the initial charges in which she was detained from originally. But I'm in such a great mood that I'm going to do the defense a solid here. My client Jade Onyx was a terrible person. She's been found guilty of terrible crimes, attempted murder, criminal threats, institutional robbery, and the list goes on. Now I can sit here and continue making my case and breaking the defense's case all within my opening statement, but I'm not going to let the fun be ruined. The defense's job today is to prove that the allegations that are made against the defendants are false and untrue, not to try to attempt to make my client guilty of a crime that exceeds the statute of limitations in this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benitez. You may proceed, Mr. Beaumont.
Good day, Judge. Esteemed members of the court, fellow spectators. First, I'd like to point out that the defense doesn't have to prove anything today. The burden of proof rests solely on the prosecution with the one piece of evidence that they are going to present today. Today, we've gathered here to address the claims asserted by Ms. Jade Onyx against law enforcement officers in this case. Ms. Onyx alleges false imprisonment, defamation, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and ongoing emotional distress stemming from the incident in question. Ms. Onyx contends that she was falsely imprisoned. The threats she made towards Mr. Jack Miller the night before at the hospital, coupled with Mr. Miller being brutally assailed, physical evidence at the scene, and Ms. Onyx's lengthy criminal record and proclivity to violence led police to initially point the finger at her as part of their reasonable investigation. Police officers, as part of their sworn duty, play a critical role in maintaining public safety and order. This duty encompasses several key responsibilities, including the protection of citizens, the prevention of crime, and of course, the diligent investigation of criminal activities. The essence of this duty is not just about enforcing laws, but ensuring a secure environment where the rights and freedoms of individuals are respected and protected. Secondly, Ms. Onyx claims defamation, contending that law enforcement officers slandered her and damaged her reputation. However, it's important for the court to recognize that defamation requires the plaintiff to have a good reputation to be tarnished, which may be challenging to establish given Ms. Onyx's extensive criminal record. Thirdly, Ms. Onyx argues negligence, suggesting that law enforcement officers failed in their duty to follow up on a probable lead. However, to prove negligence, Ms. Onyx must demonstrate that officers breached their duty of care and caused her damages or injuries, which may be difficult to establish in this case, provided her counsel has provided no such evidence. Witness testimony alone is not sufficient. Fourthly, Ms. Onyx alleges intentional infliction of emotional distress, implying that officers purposefully caused her harm. Yet without clear evidence of malicious intent, it may be challenging for Ms. Onyx to support this claim. Lastly, but not leastly, Ms. Onyx claims ongoing emotional distress and seeks damages for the same. To substantiate this claim, Ms. Onyx would need to provide documentation showing that she has been seeking psychological help since the incident occurred. To this date, no such documentation has been provided to the court or the defense. As we proceed with this case, it's imperative that we weigh the evidence presented carefully and evaluate each claim based on its merits. Our goal is to ensure that justice is served and that the rights of all parties are upheld. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. You may return to your desk. All right, we will proceed with presentation of evidence. We will start with the plaintiff first. Plaintiff, Mr. Benitez, will present his evidence, and the defense will have a chance to cross-examine. We will then move on to the defense, present their evidence, and Mr. Benitez, you'll have a chance to cross-examine once they are done. Mr. Benitez, would you please approach the stand, the podium? You may proceed.
I'm a little confused. How do I do that?
What?
Like, how do I show him the evidence? Or how do I present it?
You have to just bring it up.
Oh,
you have
okay,
to
okay,
go through
okay,
your
okay.
discovery.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
And then,
Objection, Your Honor. Are we having some private sidebar?
you may approach the bench, Bowman, and I'll explain to you what we were discussing.
Okay.
This is, of course, Mr. Bennett's first trial, and he was unsure how to present his discovery. So I'm just explaining to him that he needs to go through his evidence. He needs to state what it is, describe it to the court while I am reviewing it, and then if there's further evidence, you present that, state why it's relevant, state what it shows for your case, and then the defense will cross-examine.
Okay.
Are we all clear?
Is it okay if after I present that, could I call the defendants up to ask them some questions? Or would you like to do that after the defendants do their...
Mr. Beaumont, will you be calling the defendants to the stand in your presentation of evidence? If not,
they were
then
not,
I'll allow him.
I mean, they weren't listed. I don't believe they were listed in discovery, were they?
You're shouting.
No, he does not have to list them. They are the defendants. They are crucial parties to the case. He can ask to question them? Because Mr. Benitez, did you plan to bring Miss Onyx to the stand?
I don't believe it's necessary, but if the
Okay.
defendant wants to do so, you know, ask questions about what happened
Well,
on
you
this
didn't.
specific,
You
you know.
didn't place her in your discovery, so if
Perfect.
you're not planning to bring her to the stand,
Yep,
but
I
he
didn't.
has the right to bring her to the stand, just as you have the right to bring the defendants to the stand,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if they're not in his discovery.
100%. We're totally prepared for that.
We're all
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We all understand.
Yep.
Mr. Beaumont, we understand.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You may return to your desks. Apologies for the small delay. We will continue with presenting evidence.
Okay, just give me 1 second while I
Of course, Mr. Benitez. Take as much time
follow
as you
along
want.
here on my
We don't
trusty
rush.
iPad. So, the defense is right by claiming that I have very little evidence. However, the facts of this case are basically what makes it or breaks it, in my opinion. So the evidence that I presented is a conversation that I had with Lieutenant Colonel Ocean and Major Reed prior to me stepping into the interrogation room with my client. And if you just give me 2 seconds, let me... So in this video, I'm having a conversation with Lieutenant Colonel Ocean, and he's explaining to me that Jack reported a crime and he was shot. The crime was committed at the gym. I'm not sure if that's stated here, but it is stated in the defense's discovery that the alleged crime was committed at the gym. So Lieutenant Ocean went to collect bullet casings. He collected 2 out of the 3 or 4 bullet casings that were at the scene, and he took them, and let me just say this verbatim.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't see anywhere I didn't hear anywhere in the video where he counted casings that were collected. I hear about shots, but I don't hear anything about casings that
you
were
know,
seen in total.
this is not a valid objection.
I'm sorry, I did not hear any objection. Please be sure to speak up when shouting. I didn't hear anything else.
He's objecting that he didn't hear something in the video correctly.
Okay, sorry. I object because the
What
video, I don't hear anybody describing a total number of casings versus how many were collected. I make a distinction over the.
Watch.
Nobody says there were casings left behind or anything like that.
Okay. Well, then we'll just strike the number of casings mentioned by Benitez from the record and just continue.
Please hold for 1 second.
No problem.
Your Honor, if you direct yourself to second 57 seconds into the video, you'll see that Mr. Beaumont didn't even watch my evidence video, and he has absolutely not even like legible grounds to even object on that. But in any case, I'll continue explaining. So
I will confirm that the officer did state 2 or 3 bullet casings in the
yeah, his verbatim
so the
is
objection is overruled.
2 of 3 is casings. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll continue.
Continue.
Okay, give me 1 second. So he continues to say that he went and processed it at the building where we processed the evidence, right? There was a short pause right after that. And they, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to give it to you verbatim as it goes. Just give me 1 second. I apologize for the delay.
That's fine. There's no rush.
The lab couldn't give a proper name.
He says the lab couldn't give a proper name, but it was able to give a name shortly, like a few minutes after. So he went to go check the database, and then both bullet casings came back to Jade. Now, they're going to go ahead and continue and speak about other things, but ultimately the last thing that I want to point out to this is that they've confirmed that there is no gun that was recovered. So, unless there's a new age of forensic evidence, there's no way to match a gun to a bullet casing to a person without even so much as having a gun.
Your Honor, objection. He's not a firearms expert. He has speculation.
Well, we could
Mr.
let
Bennett,
his
do you have a
lab.
firearm expert?
We could let his state lab then confirm what I just my speculation.
Okay. Sustained. Objection sustained. Move on to another topic.
Oh, well, I'm ready to call up the defendants. I guess I could start with Major Reed, since he was the one that went ahead and detained Jade.
Did you want to call Major to the stand?
Yes, please. Yes, I'd like to call Major Reed to the stand.
Major Reed, please come up here to the stand. As we don't have a bailiff, I will be reading you an oath I wish you to confirm. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Okay. Mr. Benitez, you may continue.
Major Reed, good evening. Could you please state your full name and current rank within your selected department, please?
It's Braden Reed, Major with BCSO.
Now, as a major, I assume that you must have a few years of experience under your belt to have that title. Am I correct?
Yes.
In your previous years of law enforcement experience, have you ever determined a suspect strictly from bullet casings being found at a scene?
Depends on forensics and all that.
I'm going to ask the question one more time a little bit more clearly. Have you ever come up with a name from bullet casings recovered at a scene without an actual gun being found?
There's other things that can be found on bullet casings, if that's what you're asking.
No, I'm asking if you in particularly have ever had a case where you've had bullet casings lead to a successful arrest in your years without even so much as obtaining the gun that was used.
In the prior county, I don't believe so. No.
Okay. Thank you. Now, from the moment of the time that the crime was reported to the moment of time that Miss Jade was detained, could you let me know from your best recollection what that time was or how long it took?
I have no idea. To be honest with you, it's been, 3 weeks?
It has been quite some time, yes.
I can't give you an accurate time, so I'm not even going to answer that question. Sorry.
Would you be able to give me an estimated time?
I'm not going to estimate because I told you I don't. It's 3 weeks. I've been pretty busy. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I'm not going to give it an incorrect answer, or you know what I mean?
Sure thing. Could you confirm that it happened within the same wave?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Major Reed, did you or did you not obtain gunshot residue from the defendant from the moment that she was detained to the time that her head exploded?
That I was only the detaining officer. There was other 2 officers that were actually doing the investigation. I was just there to detain her, so I did not know.
Thank you so much. I have no further questions.
Okay, I will allow the defense to come up and cross-examine as we have the witness on the stand.
Thank you, Judge. A moment here while I get my notes.
Of course, take your time.
Okay. Is it Lieutenant Colonel? No, I'm sorry. Can you just go ahead and just state your name again and your rank in the department for the record?
Yeah, it's Braden Reed, Major with Blaines County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Major, and thank you for your service. Just to get started here, we'll go ahead and dig right into it. Can you explain the standard procedure for investigating a shooting incident?
I mean, it's. I'll try to do it quickly, so we're not here all.
It's fine. Yeah, just briefly.
Shooting scene. Ultimately, we're gonna. I mean, if we arrive to the scene, anybody on scene is going to be detained, of course, right? Because of the shooting. Evidence is going to be collected. The evidence has actually got to be ran down to a lab, as stated already. The lab will then send us results back. Those results can be found in the database, and then then it's just ongoing. I'm not going to let everything that's going on. What we do is investigation, but there's an investigation that goes on. Whether it's ballistics, whether it's fingerprints, whether it's whatever kind of evidence we obtain, and then then we do our due diligence to do our job to apprehend people that possibly may be tied to the crimes of the shooting. And I mean, that's pretty much what I would say that I'm free to speak on.
Perfect. In a case like this, where a specific threat was made against the victim, as it was by someone with a known history of violence, how does that history impact the investigation? And Judge, if you would, I'd like you to pull up Exhibit C. This is going to be the threats made by Miss Onyx at the hospital while we're listening to the witness here in his answer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ultimately, in a case like this, where I believe it was the night before, like I said, it's been a while. Miss Jade Onyx did make a threat of saying that Mr. Jack Miller was a dead man. And, shortly after, no, not shortly after, but a day after, 2 days after, the man's being shot at a gym, and there was surveillance footage of a female. And then some forensic stuff coming back that was reasonable suspicion to detain her and bring her in for questioning.
Outstanding. So speaking of reasonable suspicion and probable cause, can you go over those two things and maybe explain to the court a little bit about what those have to do with law enforcement in this situation?
I mean, reasonable suspicion is basically more than a hunch. My experience, my intuition, and training as an officer, that a crime may have been committed, going to be committed, or has, without factual evidence. And then basically, I can detain GSR Terry Frisk, said person. Probable cause leads into basically the same exact thing, just having the factual evidence of a crime being committed or going to be committed. And then, of course, at that point in time, you can arrest, seize, on top of everything you can do with reasonable suspicion.
Perfect. So given the bullet casings that have been discussed by the prosecution, linked back to Miss Onyx, and a video showing a female figure at the crime
Objection leading.
What is your response to that, Mr. Beaumont?
If I could finish the question.
Allow him to finish the question before you object, Mr. Bennett.
He's leading in the question.
I'd be more than happy to entertain whatever he wants to do.
Finish the question.
In cases like this where a specific threat was made against the victim, as shown in Exhibit C, and given the bullet casings linked back to Miss Onyx as shown in Exhibit A, the police report, I believe it was. Let me double check that exhibit.
I just want to make the court clear you have just reworded your question, Mr. Beaumont.
Okay, sorry. I'll read it exactly how I written.
I will sustain the objection, and you will just reword the question as you were starting to.
Okay, 1 second. I have to get back to my notes now.
That is fine.
I have tons of evidence presented, unlike the prosecution, so it's taking me a minute to get through it here. The
Objection? Relevance?
Police report for the incident D.
It was a statement, Mr. Bennett does. He's continuing questioning now.
Exhibit D will show the police report. It also lists the bullet casings that were recovered. So that those are on record. So, given those bullet casings linked back to Miss Onyx, as shown in the police report, the video evidence that we've submitted into discovery showing a female figure at the crime scene, how would these pieces of evidence contribute to
And only
forming
getting
reasonable
longer. And
suspicion
only getting
or
longer.
probable cause based on your
You know what's
experience
happening now,
as
Jade.
a law enforcement officer?
You don't get to
Why
walk
are
on your
so
free will
many
no
of
more.
you
You have to take
here?
probable cause because you have a physical, actual evidence with
You're
a
dead, Jack. You're a dead man.
bullet casing in one way, shape, or form tying back to, Miss Onyx. So that's where an arrest would come in play.
So, just a few more questions. I'm sorry, I won't hold up too much more of your time. Could you explain the process of analyzing bullet casings and determining potential matches to firearms or individuals?
Say that one more time.
Could you explain the process of analyzing bullet casings? Maybe how you guys were able to at first determine that those casings were connected to Miss Onyx, and then later on, how you were able to determine they actually weren't definitive?
Objection, Your Honor. He's not a forensic evidence specialist.
He is a law
Major
enforcement
Reed?
officer, though.
He doesn't analyze the evidence himself.
Give me a moment to ask. Thank you. Major Reed, do you have expertise in forensic analyzation?
I don't
And
have
these guys-
expertise, but I mean, I know how, we do send the,
I can reword
no,
the
I'm not a
question
lab
if it
expert,
helps.
but if he's asking what we do to get the information, I can explain that, but I'm not by any means a forensic expert, no.
Okay. Objection sustained. Mr. Beaumont, reword the question, understanding that Mr. Major Reed is not a forensics
Sure.
expert.
Can you explain then how the casings were initially linked to Miss Onyx? And then what was the determination given to you? Actually, just explain to me. Just explain to me your guys' process, because I don't have any kind of factual evidence for what you would suggest afterwards.
Objection, Your Honor. That would be speculation because he did not come up with those conclusions himself. He received a piece of paper with his name on it. With the name on it. I'm sorry.
I'm asking him to describe how PD came to determination that those casings belonged to Miss Onyx.
And it's been asked and answered. He received a piece of paper with Jade Onyx's name on it.
Did not receive.
Okay, so explain to me the lab process at PD.
One moment. Give me a second. Objection overruled. The court understands that Major Reed is not a forensics expert. He's going to explain the process in layman's terms because he's a PD officer, but we all understand he's not an expert in forensics. Okay, continue.
Want me to answer now,
Mr. Beaumont, do you want to just restate your question?
Yeah, can you, sorry for all the confusion, could you please explain to me how the PD came to determine on that night that the casings belonged to Miss Onyx?
Well, I believe it's been said too in the opening. Those casings were retrieved from the crime scene that Mr. Miller came to PD with. Those casings were then taken down to the lab. The lab runs their test. There's several tests can be ran. Whether it's ballistics, whether it's fingerprints, whatever. GSR was mentioned in here. That's on an individual, but ballistics and fingerprints can be ran. Those shells then are kept at the lab. They send us over through our database to our computers the final determination of the bullets, which then was, I believe, Mr. Ocean got the discoveries on them, and then let it be known over the radio, and that's why Miss Onyx was detained and taken down to the station for further investigation.
Okay, well, I appreciate you clearing that up. Last question, is it standard practice to detain and question individuals who have been identified through physical evidence and credible threats in connection with a violent crime?
Absolutely.
Okay. No further questions.
All right, Major Reed, you may return to...
if I may, can I have a rebuttal examination there? I think I reserved that right.
You've already questioned Major Reed, Mr. Benitez.
No, that's... Yeah.
I mean, I believe I have the right to a rebuttal cross-examination after the defendant there.
Negative.
But if you don't want to allow one, I mean, I was talking to the Chief Justice Belmont, so...
Well, How many questions do you have to ask, Mr. Benitez?
No more than 3.
It's outrageous. No.
You know, Your Honor, I recommend you hold Mr. Beaumont in contempt of court if he continues with these outrageous outbursts.
Mr. Beaumont, let's not just interrupt. We need to keep our thoughts inside
I
our
can
head and talk.
approach the bench.
Yes. Can I have you both approach the bench, please? Okay.
Mr. Benitez needs to make himself familiar with court procedure before he walks into court with absolutely no evidence, puts people on trial, and attempts to change the way court proceedings are happening in the middle of a court proceeding. I'm not prepared to have him go and re-cross-examine a witness. I don't have any extra questions prepared. It's not in the spirit of fairness.
Your Honor,
He doesn't have any right. Explain. Tell me.
Don't
the
talk over
precedent
each other,
because
please.
Just explain to me that before you say you have a right, I want to hear the exact precedent that gives you the right to re-examine a witness, without just saying you have a right endlessly.
First of all, I think that Chief Justice should be the one making the decisions of any request that I ask for, not you. Second of all, I'm not going to continue with any of your outrageous outbursts anymore, so I would recommend that you please stop it before I file a suit. And third of all, it's proper practice that once I call up a defendant and you go ahead and do a cross-examine, I do have an ability to have a rebuttal questions.
Could you please do me the favor?
It was in my high school law class, Beaumont. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you.
How to present discovery should have been in your high school law
And I
class,
presented
too.
discovery. If you're not happy with my discovery, then you take it up with somebody else, but not me.
All right, but you stop. All right. If I allow you to come up and cross-examine him, then I have to allow Mr. Beaumont to come up and cross-examine.
I don't have any questions prepared. It's not.
I know. Give me a moment, Mr. Beaumont. I know you've asked the questions you needed to.
What's up?
I'm not going to allow you to come up and ask further.
Sure.
We could possibly end up in a cycle of everyone rebuttal,
I mean,
cross-examining.
it's usually just one rebuttal for the defendant, but it's okay. I'll go ahead and I'll step down.
He gets to close. I get to close. He gets to rebuttal.
God, he's a fucking idiot.
Absolutely ridiculous.
All right. Yeah. Major Reed, you may return to the desk. Mr. Benitez, we're still on the plaintiff's evidence. Do you have anyone else to call the stand or anything else to present? Please come to the podium.
I'd like to call up Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Ocean.
Okay. Joseph Ocean, please approach the bench. Can you please raise your left hand? And I will read you the oath. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence that you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Benitez, you may approach the bench and start questioning.
Could you please state your full name, rank, and department for the court, please?
Joseph Ocean, Colonel of SESB.
Colonel, good evening. Did you retrieve a gun from Miss Jade or on the crime scene, or a gun relating to this case in any way, shape, or form?
No.
So just to confirm, no gun collected at all that leads to this case, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
After you went ahead and dropped the charges.
Hold on, Mr. Benitez. Beaumont, you need to speak up. Make sure you are shouting so everyone can hear.
Sorry, it's because I'm whisper when I come up to the. Anyways, I'm objecting. That is relevance. This isn't a criminal case. This is a civil case about negligence.
Your Honor, I am asking that question to basically, in layman's term, poke holes in how they were negligent in following their own reasonable suspicion procedures, et cetera, their own SOPs.
Give me a moment to think.
I also want to state that, sorry to cut you off. I also want to state that Colonel Ocean does state in my evidence video that there was no gun collected.
Okay. I believe your question is relevant to the case, so objection overruled. Continue. You may need to restate the question.
Colonel, how did you get Jade's name as a suspect?
From the forensics,
How did they give it
the
to you?
lab, through a computer. The sent to our database.
Did they email it to you? Was it uploaded into a database? Can you be a little bit more specific?
It was uploaded to a database.
Okay. So was her name uploaded to the database?
Correct.
And can you confirm that the only thing you gave to your forensics team was the 2 of the 3 bullet casings?
This was a while ago. I'm not sure how much bullet casings I collected.
No problem. But did you give anything else besides bullet casings?
I don't recall.
Colonel, after you dropped the charges, did you guys try to proceed with filing any search warrants or ultimately looking to prove that she did commit that crime?
We got a search warrant.
Was the search warrant approved?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the search warrant by any chance?
I do not.
Okay. Was the search warrant executed?
It was not.
Could you tell me why not?
We didn't find a need to continue with the search warrant.
You did not find the need to continue with the search warrant. So could you... Okay, so there was no need to continue with the search warrant. And just to confirm that there were no charges ultimately filed for her against the attempted murder of Jack Miller, correct?
Could you say that one more time? Sorry.
Could you confirm that there were no charges filed against her for the attempted murder of a public servant relating to Jack Miller?
Yeah, there was no charges made. Or there was, sorry. Let me could you word it in a different way?
Yeah, I can.
Maybe I'm
So
misunderstanding.
no worries. If you were to pull up the MDT right now, are there charges on Jade Onyx's record for attempted murder of a public servant relating to the case of Jack Miller's claim?
No. There is not.
Okay. Colonel, could you tell me how long it took the forensics team to upload Jade's name into the database?
Just like the others, just like the other piece of evidence, I would not be able to recall, since it has been a very long time.
Could you confirm that it was within the same wave?
Wave as in?
Within the same tsunami frame.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have a very important question to ask you here. Could you tell me the date that the report for this incident was?
I would not be able to tell you at the top of my head.
Your Honor, would you allow him to pull up his MDT and allow him to research that information?
Do you not have access to the report, Mr. Benitez?
Your Honor, the report was
Objection,
submitted by
relevance.
Beaumont himself. It's just a picture of it. I'm just allowing the colonel to pull up the report so he could refresh his own memory. The report was submitted into evidence by Beaumont.
Okay.
Objection,
Alright,
relevance to the date.
It's your evidence, Beaumont.
Hold on. What is the relevance of the date, Benitez?
The date will prove that these charges or the detainment was filed before the search warrant was requested.
You do understand that detainment does not need a search warrant.
I understand. I just want to point out that she was
Okay.
detained before the search warrant was filed.
Objection overruled. I understand what I will allow Lieutenant Ocean to look at his MDT and refresh himself on the date of the report.
The incident report has been voided, as there was no arrest made.
Okay. Well, then he does not have access to that, Mr. Benitez. Now.
In that case, I'd like the report that Beaumont submitted into evidence stricken from the record, since it no longer exists.
All right. Beaumont, Benitez, please approach the stand. Mr. Beaumont, when did do you know when this report was voided?
I have. Hold on, let me not shout. I speak too loud when I'm up here, and I speak too
Okay.
loud when I'm back there. I have no idea about, but quite frankly, if he wants to void the report, then that really the only evidence he has, but Benitez, quite frankly, and this is respectfully, is two officers standing around doing routine police work, talking about investigating an investigation and finding that evidence wasn't sufficient, so they let your client go. So you want to strike more evidence from the record of this thing even ever happening. It sounds like to me your client was never even arrested. And she's trying to sue for like false arrest and false imprisonment, but she wasn't even ever arrested.
Mr.
Now you want to
Benitez,
strike the
response
police
to that?
report from the record?
Yeah, I want to strike the police report from the record.
I mean, it's really not
Mr.
going to make much of a difference.
Mr. Beaumont, do you agree?
I
Because I'm asking
really,
your.
I really don't. I
Okay.
think that this whole thing has
Mr.
been a giant reach.
Mr. Benitez, do you have any evidence of when it was voided? Are you able to get?
I mean, it's really not going to matter.
stated?
That it's.
I
it's
know, but
not
what
the
I'm
crime
stating
isn't-
is.
We're not in a criminal trial. He's trying to prove negligence by the police, and he hasn't proven negligence or defamation or.
I understand that. I understand that. What I'm
Money
trying to
out.
say is, Benitez, you've verbally stated to me that you waited the max amount of time you could to place the civil suit. You've stated to me that that was your intention. If the police report was voided after the civil suit was filed, then I will not have it removed from evidence because you waited. It was still available for, it seems, 14 days if Mr. Beaumont was able to get it. So you waited. I'm not going to have the report voided from evidence as it existed before. I don't think it being voided benefits you in any way, Mr. Benitez. So I just want you to understand that.
No, I understand. It's okay. I mean, it's your choice, Your Honor. I'm just here to tell you what I can prove and what I can't prove, not what I think or don't think.
I understand.
All right.
Well, it's going to remain. All right, we'll continue. Okay, Mr. Benitez, you can continue if you have any more questions for Lieutenant
Yes,
Ocean.
I do. Colonel, was Jade did you guys conduct a GSR test, a gunshot residue test on Jade before her head exploded?
We did not before.
Okay.
It exploded.
Can you confirm that it is part of your standard operating procedure to gunshot a residue as quickly as possible? Gunshot residue a suspect as quickly as possible?
It is not stated that it needs to be done as quickly as possible.
But it is stated that it needs to be done, right?
It does need to be done.
And you did not do it, correct?
I did do it. Afterwards.
After her head popped.
Correct.
So then in that case, it would have been, negative.
Correct.
Okay. Would you believe that you would have had a better opportunity in obtaining a positive conclusion to that gunshot residue if you would have done it as soon as you detained her?
Could you repeat that, sorry?
Do you believe that the gunshot residue test would have been positive if you would have done it as quickly as possible?
If I had done it, if her head hasn't happened to explode,
Yes.
then I believe it would have been positive.
However, we won't know that because it wasn't done before it exploded, correct?
No. Yes. One more time, sorry.
Are you, Mr. Beaumont, do you have some
Objection,
sort
Your
of objection? All right, shout, please.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying.
I cannot hear you if you don't shout. All right, what is your objection, Mr. Beaumont?
My objection is Ocean is not a forensic expert, would have no idea generally the details of how long it would take. That's science.
Yeah, objection sustained. Mr. Benitez, that question is asking Mr. Joseph Ocean to speculate.
Okay.
So that question is stricken. The answer is stricken. You can continue with other questions you have.
Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to refresh my
Problem.
note
Do
here.
not rush. It's okay.
Colonel Ocean, could you confirm that you were denying my suspect bail when I arrived?
Yes.
Colonel, can you tell me what date the ruling for the bail against suspects changed?
I would say it had to have been a week or more. I can't be. I can't give you a precise date.
Okay. Are you familiar with the with the eighth right of the Constitution?
No.
It's about checks and balances. Now, do you think it's proper for a police officer to withhold bail from a suspect?
It depends on the situation.
Understood. In this case, against the eighth right of the Constitution, do you think it's allowed?
Could you repeat that?
Against the eighth right of the Constitution, do you think withholding bail from a suspect as a police officer is allowed?
With the bail agreements at the
Objection,
time?
Your Honor. We have to
Yes.
work with some limitations within the city here.
It's the Constitution of the United States, Beaumont.
It's limitations of the city.
Mr. Benitez, the objection is sustained. As I wrote the new bail agreement, I'm able to talk on it. I submitted the bail update on the 30th. This incident occurred before that, where police had the right, if the crime was so heinous or the accused poses a danger to the public or themselves, that they can refuse bail. That has now since been changed, but that was what was in action when this incident occurred. So you'll need to move on to another line of questioning.
Colonel Ocean, do you think if you would have had a lengthier, do you think if you would have given your forensics team a lengthier time to investigate, they would have?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I will allow Mr. Benitez to finish his question, as you've asked him to do for you, and then we will see. Mr. Benitez, finish the whole question, please.
Do you think you would have been successful in this case if you would have had more time to investigate?
Objection sustained. That is speculation, Mr. Benitez.
Could you tell the court where it is you arrested my client?
And only getting longer. And only getting longer.
Eclipse Medical Center.
You know what's happening now, Jade. You don't get to walk
There's
on your
so
free will.
many.
Could you recall how many citizens of Los Santos were there at the moment?
I could not, as it has been a very long time.
Getting longer.
Okay. Could you at least tell me that there was more than one citizen of Los Santos at the hospital?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
It shows my client's character being defamed in public space. That's what I'm trying to show here as they went in and arrested her.
Benitez, Mr. Ocean has stated he cannot remember. So
I just asked him if he could remember if there was more than one person. He doesn't need to tell me how many, but at least if there was more than one.
I
Alright.
do not remember.
He does not remember. Move on to another line of questioning, please.
All right. And then the last question that I have here is, did you submit a search warrant request after the charges were dropped?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered already.
I asked Reed, not him.
What was Reed's answer to that? Would that not be the same answer?
I'm
Mr.
hoping it
Benitez?
is.
Alright, objection overruled. Continue.
Could you repeat the question, sorry?
Did you guys file for a search warrant against my client after she was detained?
After she was released, yes.
Was the search warrant
A day or
approved?
two after. It was approved, yeah.
Was the search warrant executed?
It was not
Objection,
executed.
Your Honor. This was asked and answered already by Ocean.
It was, Mr. Benitez. You're getting the same answers as you got.
Perfect. Did you...
Objection sustained. Move on to another line of questioning.
Well, that's it. That's all I had. I just wanted to make sure you remembered that.
Okay. Mr. Beaumont, you can approach the stand and cross-examine.
Thank you, Judge. Hello, sir. Thank you for taking time
He
out of
can
your busy
actually
day to be here. Would you go ahead and state your name and rank again for the record?
Objection asked and answered.
Of SASB.
Mr. Benitez, that's the formal...
You know what? I'll refrain from having some more fun.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Benitez. Continue, please.
Okay. Sorry. I was just making sure. Can you explain the same question from before? Can you explain the standard procedure for investigating the shooting?
You need to. Next time you stop and make sure them
Once we
glasses
arrive on
come
scene,
off.
every individual on the scene is able to be detained. We would GSR test, Terry frisk, and if any evidence leads into an arrest, we would proceed with an arrest.
And as the prosecution pointed out, no charges were ever filed against Ms. Onyx.
Correct.
So she was never formally arrested.
I would not be able to give you a direct answer, actually.
Was she detained?
She was detained.
And what led to that detainment?
Bullet casings came back to her name. She was heard threatening the victim, Jack Miller. And she overall just has a prior of these heinous crimes.
And what is the prerequisite typically for
but yeah.
a detainment? There's a specific, I think, word that law enforcement has. For it, or
Objection.
set of words.
Leading.
What is the prerequisite for detainment?
If we have reasonable suspicion, we can detain.
Perfect. And could you explain to the court again, in case they don't remember, what reasonable suspicion is and what it allows?
Reasonable suspicion is more than a feeling. It's based on the officer's intuition, training, overall experience in the department. It allows us to detain, Terry frisk, and GSR test the suspect.
Perfect. And last question. Is it standard practice to detain and question individuals who have been identified through physical evidence and credible threats in connection with a violent crime?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
All right. Mr. Ocean, you may return back to the defense bench.
I would have been like, yo, did you read the rights? He did. And he
Mr.
arrested.
Benitez, we're still in plaintiff presenting
Oh,
evidence.
we rest. I'll wait till closing.
Okay, then. We move on to the defense presenting evidence. Mr. Beaumont, if you would like to approach the podium.
Can everybody hear me in the back? Judge, you can hear me
Yeah,
okay?
we hear you.
I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
We on presenting evidence? Is that what I heard? Presenting defense evidence?
Yes, yeah. We've moved on from the plaintiff's evidence. We are now on to yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge. Going over the discovery here, tonight you will see Exhibit A will be the shooting of the gym of Jack Miller. In the footage, you can see what appears to be a female figure come up from behind.
Your Honor, objection. I wanted to object to this specific piece of evidence when it was brought up because I don't see any relevance to this case at the moment. It's not a murder trial. It's a case against the BCSO and SAST.
I'm
Mr. Benitez, hold on, Mr. Beaumont.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Mr. Benitez, your case is false arrest, false detainment, false imprisonment. The state and defense need to prove that they had reason to detain and reason to accuse. Whether they follow through with that or not is a different matter, but this is relevant. They need to prove that they had reasonable suspicion.
Understood. I just wanted to point out that in that piece of evidence, there is a figure shown very far away, fully covered from head to toe in clothing.
I understand that. This piece of evidence might not explain what they wanted to explain, but it is relevant to the case. So, objection overruled. Continue, Mr. Beaumont.
Thank you, Judge. Excuse the interruption from myself. So the shooting in the gym of Jack Miller is to add credence to reasonable suspicion that was being developed by the police department. You'll see that the figure there is the female, and Jade, I believe, is also female. I hate to presume gender, but I believe that to be the case. Exhibit B will be the footage of the threats made the previous evening by Miss Onyx, where she specifically says, "You're dead, Jack. You're dead. You're a dead man." That is also just to show this is all things that the PD had access to while building their reasonable suspicion. We have the Exhibit C is going to be the criminal record for Jade Onyx. It's going to show that she has a proclivity to committing acts of violence and has the intent, the means and the motive to carry out the violent threats that she had made the night before. Also in credence to officers to build reasonable suspicion. The police report for the incident showing the casings, again describing how once the officers' reasonable suspicions ceased to exist, Miss Jade was not ever charged with a crime. In fact, she was released for detainment. It's been reported to me that she didn't actually even make it to a cell. And then next you'll have Exhibit E, that's standard operating procedures related to reasonable suspicion and probable cause in the police department. It goes over each of those definitions. And then I'm ready for my witness testimony, if you're ready.
All right. Yeah, give me 1 moment. Apologize.
Sure.
See the holes.
Alright, we can move on to witnesses. Mr. Benitez, you'll be able to cross-examine evidence presented after you also cross-examine the witnesses. So, what witness would you like to bring to the stand first, Mr. Beaumont?
I'd like to call our expert medical witness, Doc Dohart.
Okay. Dexter Dockhart, could you please come to the stand?
Oh, I'm right, Dad, you better give a good fucking witness.
Dexter Dockhart.
Or testimony, whatever they call him.
Yeah, pretty sure his name is Dexter
Statement.
Dockhart.
Dr. Dockhart, thank you for coming.
Alright, I will swear you in. Please raise your left hand. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence that you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Perfect. You are shouting.
Papa, you need to shout.
Mr. Dockhart?
You quiet as hell.
Yeah, I'm shouting.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Beaumont, you may continue with questioning.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dockhart, for your time and availability to be here tonight. I know you're a busy man. Could you please go ahead and state your full name and position for the court?
My what? Sorry, my head's hurting.
Your name and position for the court, Mr. Dockhart.
I'm Dexter Dockhart. I am the director of medicine at Eclipse Medical Center.
That's my dad.
I think you may need a cough drop, sir.
Yeah.
He sounds fine for me.
Better?
Yeah, no, I hear you loud and clear the entire time, Doc.
Yeah, you
okay.
sounded
I
fine.
also heard it quite clear.
Okay, perfect. Maybe you guys could just kind of... I can't hear him. Let me
Maybe
see
he
if
has
it's
earwax.
Is it possible we need to have you both re-enter the building?
I could go do that real quick, yes, Your Honor.
Alright, we will have a very brief recess while Mr. Dockhart, Mr.
Try and say
Beaumont
something
go
now.
outside.
I can hear him now.
Alright, cool.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
I
He
just
could...
had to stick a cue
So no
for you
recess? Okay.
No recess. I apologize. We will continue
Sorry.
with the question.
guys. Is it doctor? Is that how you prefer to be,
Yeah,
Dexter
you
Doctor?
can call me Doc.
Doc? Could you describe the nature and severity of the injuries sustained by Mr. Miller as a result of the shooting?
Jack received two gunshot wounds
Abby, why are you so
to
fucking
his
white?
upper back and one to the lower end of his cranium.
Basically the same shade as
Quote on the
fucking
severity, I
mask.
mean he was shot in the head.
Not my fault.
Extremely,
No, you look like a
life
fucking
threatening.
white Hershey bar.
It took a while to get him back.
Cookies and cream, you mean?
And
I
based
can't
on the
comment
injuries
that. My
sustained,
fiance's
can you
right
offer
here.
insight into potential
Not that.
intent behind
God
the shooting?
damn it.
For example, were the injuries consistent with
Your
an intent
future
to kill?
wife, by the way.
Your Honor, objection. How is he expert witness on shoot to kill?
Hey, yo.
He's an expert medical witness.
What the fuck? I missed something.
Objection sustained, Mr. Beaumont. A doctor cannot
Yeah, you
figure out
can't
whether it was
double
a
us
shoot
both.
to
of
kill.
course.
It could have been a fatal shot, but they cannot determine that. Please restate your question.
Sure. Based on the injury sustained, actually, can you scratch that question? We'll move on to the next one.
Okay.
Your professional opinion, what could the psychological impact of such an incident be on the victim?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. How is Jack Miller's psychological state even a relevance to this suit right now?
The defense is attempting to show the severity of the crime in which the police.
It's attempted murder of a public servant. I'm sure that everybody knows the severity of it without having to show his psychological state.
Well, we're demonstrating it through evidence from a medical expert.
It's irrelevant.
Objection sustained, Beaumont. This isn't a criminal suit, and Jack Miller isn't a plaintiff. We don't know.
The relevance is that he's the victim, and
It's
I'm
too
trying
late. She
to
said
show
fucking
that the,
sustained. Shut up.
crime itself was serious enough that it warranted a swift and thorough investigation by the police department.
Mr. Bowman, as Mr. Bennett has stated, it was attempted murder, so I think that we will understand the severity.
Okay. No problem. Given Miss Onyx's history and nature of this incident, can you discuss any potential psychological profiles that might be relevant for someone who engages in this type of violent behavior?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. What is he even testifying for? Like, what is the what?
Give me one moment, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bowman, can you please make that question a little clearer?
Yeah, I'm attempting to deflect some of the prosecution's claims of her emotional state and distress, being as that she is essentially a violent criminal, as demonstrated by her criminal record.
Your Honor, we've
again,
stated.
I asked that-
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Your Honor. We've stated already that she has previous crimes. She is not on trial for being a murder. Therefore, the relevance of how any psychological state of any person who could be the murderer is relevant here.
Psychological state's very relevant when we're suing for an emotional distress and things that have to do with
Order.
psychological state.
Order. Alright,
Order in the
objection
court.
overruled. I do believe it's relevant as in the civil suit.
But he didn't do a psych eval on her
Ms.
before.
Onyx brings up, well, it is brought up.
How is he gonna know
that
about
she
her
was
psych
put in a
profile?
state of distress by PD. So I believe this is a relevant line of questioning. So continue,
But
Mr. Beaumont.
he's not a cop right now. He's
I'll go ahead and repeat the question. So,
a
from a
doctor.
medical standpoint, or given Miss Onyx's history and the nature of the incident, can you discuss any potential psychological profiles that might be relevant for someone who engages in this type of violent behavior?
Objection, speculation. He's speculating that my client committed this crime, and he's asking for the director of medicine to testify on a potential psychological state if my client had committed the crime.
Your Honor, her violent behavior is well documented in her criminal record.
There has been no psychological evaluation of my client, neither from her damages after or before. Therefore, her psychological state is nowhere near the scope of this case.
Mr. Benitez, her psychological state is part of your civil suit. It is stated that she was put in a state of distress. by
100%, but he's trying to have...
I understand what you're saying, and I will sustain that objection, Mr. Beaumont. This line of questioning is unnecessary, so we will move on to a different line. You can discuss.
Okay. I'm just simply trying to shed some light here on where we should really feel bad, and that's, you know, not for somebody who, you know. Anyways, no further question. Just move on to the next thing.
Okay, Mr. Duckard, I would remain seated. Mr. Benitez, would you like to cross-examine?
I do. Doc, how are you today?
Good.
Pretty good. How are you?
I am delightful, sir. Thank you so much. I'm super ecstatic that the defense has brought you up here on his own free will. Could you, by any chance, and I'm asking the judge to throw me a little bit of leeway here, speculate to what the psychological state might be of a woman who's trying to reform her life and then gets wrongfully detained and accused of a crime she didn't commit?
I'm going to interrupt you right now.
No,
that
relevance.
you just objected to Mr. Beaumont doing the exact same thing you were doing right now.
I just wanted to state the fact that I'm asking about my client's psychological state after the charges were filed.
And Mr. Beaumont was asking about before. So what am I to allow? Am I to allow Mr. Beaumont come out here and restate his question and have an answer?
Well, I'm
should
sorry.
I object to you?
I'm sorry to interrupt, Your Honor. If I may, Beaumont would be the one to object to that. He objected that it's relevant, and as you pointed out before, hold on. If I could finish here,
You interrupted me, Mr. Benitez.
All right, so let me know when I can go.
You asked me to allow leeway, and so I'm stating that.
Can I get 1 second real quick? Can I answer this question from the medical standpoint I have?
No, Doc, it's okay. It's unnecessary.
I guarantee it'll be a very quick answer.
It's okay, Doc. You don't have to answer it. Chief Justice, well, due respect, I just want to point out that you accepted that my client's psychological state after the fact was within the scope, and that's what I was asking for, but it's okay if you don't feel that way now. We'll move on to a different line of questioning. Dr. Dockhart, have you ever evaluated my client in any way, shape, or form after the March 12th or 13th or 14th event?
Her client has never been seen by my establishment for any sort of primary care visit ever. Only for damages acquired, never for mental health or anything of that nature.
Thank you so much. No further questions.
All right, Mr. Dockhart, you may return to
Bro, it's like watching a TV show.
benches.
Oh God.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I like when Belmont argues with the judge.
Mr.
Funny.
Beaumont, did you want to move on to your next witness?
Alright, this ain't Family Feud.
Yes.
Let's get him on
Unfortunately,
the zero
the state
screening.
forensics lab, for whatever reason, has decided not to show up today for court.
Wait, there actually is
That's
one?
completely on them. They weren't compelled to be here. I don't really think it matters anyways. I can just go ahead and move on to closing statements.
You just spelled
So
your
you
fucking
don't
name.
wish to ask any other witnesses to the stand?
Wait, they're not gonna bring Jada?
You know, why not? Let's ask Jade Onyx to the stand.
No, he can't hear me.
We got a slew of questions.
No, he can't.
Thanks for reminding me, Judge.
Alright,
Old age
to
and
the other
whiskey.
stand, Mr. Beaumont.
Yeah,
To the
you're
other
Ocean,
stand,
can you hear me?
Mr. Beaumont.
Sorry. Old age and whiskey.
Ocean.
That's
Old age-
fine.
old
age and
Miss Onyx, I'll read you
Ocean.
an oath. Please raise your left
Ocean.
hand.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying. Nobody
okay,
can fucking hear me, you fucking
Do you
asshole.
solemnly swear that the
okay,
evidence you shall
and
give
damn.
the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
Guys, let me listen to this one, please.
We're done, don't worry.
You may
Alright.
continue, Mr. Beaumont.
Thank you, Judge. Well, Miss Onyx, thank you for your time and coming today.
I'm gonna shoot him.
I know that this must be difficult for you.
Oh God.
Can you go ahead and state your name for the record, please, this evening?
Jade Onyx.
Oh god, not a British accent.
And can you state your current occupation?
I am a partial owner to Pond Cafe, and I also work at the studio as an assistant general manager.
Perfect. Thank you. Isn't it true that you have a history of criminal activities, including but not limited to aggravated assault, multiple attempts of murder, including of a public servant, as well as criminal threats?
Yes.
And given your extensive criminal record, would you agree that your reputation in the community is already somewhat tarnished?
No, object.
Objection, Your Honor. That's speculation.
Actual.
I love her.
Mr.
I think she's
Benitez
hot.
is asking,
Hey, yo.
would she be speculating on her own reputation in the community?
Well, she's speculating at all, Your Honor. I believe that when somebody asks a question, they shouldn't be allowed to speculate on an answer. She's speculating on a community's image of her. She is not the community.
Alright, objection sustained. Mr. Beaumont, move on to another question.
Sure.
He's so,
So
mad.
pissed.
Given your own, let's see, what's the best way to word this?
He's trying to reword it.
Given your own reasonableness, would
You were
you
saying?
think
Not
what kind of thoughts would you have about somebody
Speculation.
who was a murderer of a public servant? What kind of opinion would you have of that person?
Your Honor?
leading the witness.
That
What
too?
is your objection, Mr. Benitez?
I mean, aside from the fact that he's asking to speculate on this, in addition to
I'm asking
leading,
her for her opinion.
Mm-hmm. Leading the witness.
okay, then I'll object to the relevance of her opinion.
As he should.
Objection overruled. You may
What?
answer this question.
What?
But we're
Huh?
gonna move on from this line of questioning.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Did you overrule that or sustain it, Judge?
it's overruled. So somebody
Overruled.
with this question may sound a little different, but I promise you it's the same question, and you can be in my hat if it's not. You meet somebody and you find out they've murdered people. What's your opinion of that person?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
All right, we have objection
Okay.
sustained. Mr. Beaumont, we're moving over from this line
fine.
of questioning.
He's so mad.
Okay, fine. Where were you on the night Mr. Jack Miller was shot?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Damn.
This is
murder
going
trial.
on to demonstrate the investigation and building of reasonable suspicion by PD.
The investigation was already concluded and the charges were dropped. Therefore, no further investigation is needed.
You're stating the detainment was unwarranted. They're trying to establish that they had merit to detain. I'm going to allow Miss Onyx to answer this question, but then Mr. Beaumont, understand this is not a criminal trial, and
I
we
completely
don't need
understand,
to go
Your
into
Honor.
an investigation. Okay?
Mhm.
So please continue. Objection overruled.
I was at Pond Cafe for a little bit, and I mean, I was at a lot of places that day. And then I was happy for a while. And I don't know, this was so long ago, I really don't remember exactly what I was doing that day.
Okay. So we'll move through because I have a feeling that Benitez is going to object to a couple of these questions. So we're just going to move through this.
Oh, wait, you have a feeling I'm going to do my job?
Can you explain the nature of your
Benitez, don't
relationship with
interrupt.
Mr. Miller? What led you to make those statements to him?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Objection overruled. It is relevant. Mr. Beaumont, continue.
So can you explain your nature of your relationship with Mr. Miller and what led you to make the statements you made to him on the night?
Objection, Your Honor. Compound question. He's asking 2 questions in one.
Mr. Beaumont, just separate the questions, please.
Can you explain your nature of your relationship with Mr. Miller?
I don't have a relationship with Mr. Miller.
What led you to make the statements you made to him on the night? You said you'd kill him, as recorded in those videos.
I was very angry that day, and I don't know. I don't exactly remember what had happened. It was so long ago.
Okay. Is there anybody that can verify your whereabouts at the time of the
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained. Mr. Beaumont, this is not a criminal trial.
I
Please move on to
understand.
another line of questioning.
I am trying to demonstrate the reasonable suspicion that PD had. It's understood to me that on the night of the question, police were operating with evidence that they had at their disposal, which is that Mr. Jack had no other enemies at the time. We're trying to find out if she has any alibi.
Objection, Your Honor. Is he going to ask any questions anytime soon, or is he just going to be making open statements in court?
I'm trying to explain my answer to the objection.
Order. Objection sustained, Mr. Beaumont. As I stated, we don't need to find out her alibi for the situation. Again, it's not a criminal
Well, I mean, that's what goes into PD investigation.
I believe the objection was sustained, Belmont.
I don't need to argue with the attorney over here.
I would prefer
argue with the judge either.
Okay, this is getting out of hand. Okay.
Jade spoke over
You know what? No further questions.
All right, perfect.
This is ridiculous.
You know Jade's on the
Mr. Benitez. All right, great. You're already coming up. Are you wishing to cross-examine?
I have a few questions for my client.
You may continue.
Miss Onyx, from the moment of your last arrest where you pleaded guilty, have you committed any crimes?
Objection, Your Honor. Irrelevance.
Oh, well, I'm stating the, about to state her road to reform here, brother.
Mr. Benitez, it's very unlikely that if Miss Onyx has committed any crimes that she would admit to that in a court of law, so I will sustain the objection and you will move on to another question.
Miss Onyx, do you believe that you're a reformed citizen?
Objection. Speculation.
Do you have a rebuttal for that, Mr. Benitez?
I'm just waiting for your ruling.
Well, are you going to argue that it's not speculation?
I mean, I'm asking my client to speculate on her own, like on her own self. She's not speculating on behalf of anybody else. She's trying.
Mr. Beaumont also tried to do that before. Tried to have her speculate on her opinion of someone who had committed a crime.
On someone that committed a crime, not on herself. I'm asking her to give me an opinion on herself.
Objection sustained. Mr. Benitez, move on to another question.
You know what? I think we're good here then.
Okay. Miss Onyx, you may return to the plaintiff bench.
Nice.
All right, Mr. Benitez. Mr. Beaumont, did you have anything else to submit to the court?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Benitez, this is your opportunity if you wish to cross-examine any of the actual hard evidence that was placed into Mr. Beaumont's discovery. Did you wish to do that?
No, absolutely not. I'm ready for closing.
All right, we will move on to closing. Mr. Benitez, please approach the podium.
Your Honor, as I made it perfectly clear the defense has failed to defend his defendants. He's failed to prove that they did their job correctly. And as you can see, there's absolutely no way, shape, or form that a murder investigation could be forensically, even possibly conducted within a single wave, in addition to all the evidence that the defendant has brought up, that the defense has brought up. The defense has only brought up evidence about previous crimes that my client did commit. She pled guilty. They've already gone over this. So in this case, they've even failed to, before this suit was filed, file any criminal charges against my client. The defense failed to execute an approved search warrant for my client. So they went based on somebody's word and a hunch, while failing to follow their own procedures by failing to do a gunshot residue test on my client. That right there is negligent in their due process in any investigation. Now imagine the state of mind of a reformed woman who's trying to lead her life free of crime to then get wrongfully detained in a public space of peace and solitude, or in this case, of peace and health, as she was in the medical center. My client was dragged out in handcuffs by 5 police officers, as shown in the defense's video. Miss Jade Onyx over here weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. The excessive use of force was just extremely unnecessary due to the fact that they had no evidence pointing her to this crime. If I wouldn't have shown up, they would have thrown my client in jail with no bail. In this case, I want to feel like I'm Superman, but I'm going to leave that to you to make the rightful ruling on this case. And I'll leave the amount compensated up to your discretion, because we're not in it for the money, guys. We don't care if we get $1. What we care about is the city, and we care about the system and how the system has failed all our residents by bogus forensic claims. That'll be it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Penitentiary. Mr. Beaumont, please approach the podium and give me your closing statement.
This guy sucks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judge. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Can the folks in the back hear me okay?
No.
That's why.
Yeah, we hear you fine.
We don't want
Okay,
you to talk. Shut up.
I'd like to remind court, prosecution, and the spectators that it's not the defense's job to prove anything. That is solely up to the prosecution. And with that, I'll start my closing argument here. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, as we conclude this trial, I urge you to consider the weight of evidence and testimony presented before you, showcasing the diligent efforts of the officer involved in this case.
You know what's happening now,
Their
Jade.
actions, though scrutinized,
You
were
don't get along
executed in
with
faithful
everyone.
discharge of their
You
sworn duty to
here.
protect the public and ensure safety of our community. The defense has demonstrated beyond a reasonable doubt that the actions taken by police were not only justified, but necessary under the circumstances. We've seen through expert testimony of evidence that the officers operated within bounds of the law with the sole intent of investigating a serious crime that posed an immediate threat to public safety. Remember the testimony that affirmed standard procedures following in situations involving threat to life, and the corroborating video evidence that placed a female figure at the crime scene, potentially Miss Onyx. These pieces are critical in understanding the context in which officers made their decision to detain Miss Onyx for questioning, a decision made in the interest of preventing further harm and ensuring justice for the victim. The medical expert's testimony further highlighted the grave nature of the crime investigated, emphasizing the necessity of swift and decisive action by the police in their efforts to protect the public from potential further violence. Throughout this trial, the defense has shown that Miss Onyx's claim of false imprisonment, defamation, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress do not hold against the evidence of the police conducting their duty under reasonable suspicion and probable cause. It's important to recognize that the protection of our community sometimes requires difficult decisions to be made in moments of uncertainty. defending the police department against these claims, we uphold not just the actions of individual officers, but the very principles that govern our justice system, the principles of due diligence, of public safety, and of the pursuit of justice. Therefore, I ask you to consider the evidence in its entirety, the testimony of our experts, and the lawful procedures that guide our police force in their crucial work. Let us affirm the necessity of their duty to protect and serve, even under the most challenging circumstances. It is with great respect for this court and trust in the wisdom of your judgment that I humbly request a verdict that recognizes the legitimacy and the necessity of the actions taken by police in this case. Let us stand together in support of those who dedicate their lives to our safety, ensuring that they can continue to do so with the confidence and respect they rightfully deserve. Bottom line, ma'am, police followed up on a terroristic threat made towards Jack Miller. That's their job. She was let go, and she didn't plead guilty.
Oh God.
That's all. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Beaumont. Alright, I will be calling a brief recess while I deliberate. Before I do that brief recess, I'd like to state, Mr. Benitez, have you been posting on Birdie throughout this court case?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yes, I've been on my phone throughout this court case.
Okay, Mr. Benitez, I will ask that you not do that. It is extremely unprofessional, and I will not allow you back in my court case if that occurs in another trial. Do you understand?
Oh, sure thing. I'll keep my notifications off for the next one.
Yeah, I would prefer everyone have their phones on airplane. I would like to see you as a private attorney not be on your phone throughout a trial. Okay? Great. I will call a brief recess, 5 minutes, and we will be back.
Bro, that's
Good aim.
All right, calling her a terrorist was a little racist, but whatever.
Good aim. Hey, brothers. Hey, brothers.
What's up, brother?
What's up, brothers?
I'm talking.
Oh, I set you up
Tuesday,
perfectly.
Tuesday.
Hey, no way. But anyway, you better shoot him in the head when we get over here.
Yo. What up? Did we cook or did we cook?
Yeah,
Bro,
shoot
you
him
did
in the
not
head
have
when
to
we
cook
leave.
him that fucking hard.
Hey, wow. Like I said, brother, even if we win or don't, I did it for the people of the city.
Bro, you knocked him down and didn't let him get up. You just kept knocking him down.
Yeah, you kept kicking him while he was down. It was deserved though, but you know.
Bro, you know what? Yo, Bo, I'll pay you more than what they're paying you. You'll probably do better.
Hi.
Hi, you did good.
You said what?
She's got a big dog. This guy just called me a fucking idiot?
Yeah, I did.
Thank you.
Of course.
Nikolai. I just wanted to hand you over my autograph here.
Oh, yeah, my son is a big fan, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that. He'll be so happy. You know, he's a big fan since like he was 5. You know, he saw you like, you know, you're a lawyer and big deal.
Oh wow.
I got you.
Live TV as well.
I got you, man.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It was nice to see you, Nikolai.
Absolutely. Yeah, likewise.
Hold on.
Officer K, it's a pleasure to see you.
Well, the best part is at the end.
We should have had. Well, we
Okay, I
should
think
have
this is
more
it.
like
I
people
don't
in there
know.
to keep the order. In
Hey,
order.
boys.
Yeah, and then everyone in the C was also tweeting.
Yeah, I know. Everybody needs to put their fucking phones around and be professional.
Yeah, my bad. You know, I had to have a little fun with it.
I mean, you want contempt, you're gonna get contempt.
Well, if she's not gonna give it to him, but shit, I'll take it.
Well, it's just not you. There's hella people in there that run their phone.
He definitely said that because I just got an email about it.
No, he did. I heard it. I heard it.
Wait, what? Said what?
Just a guy that decided.
Someone
to
said a
purchase
no
the,
Oh.
word, yeah.
Oh no, I didn't.
Pretty blatantly, because we called him a fucking idiot.
Oh.
You know who barges through the thing to go to the judge's chamber in the middle of a court case? You just don't do that. You know.
Like that's just a dumbass thing to.
Oh.
He doesn't seem so smart.
I don't really like that guy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does.
No, the guy you guys are talking about. Hey, good case though, right? You guys had fun?
Isn't that Deuce guy or
The
something
guy that
like
walked
that?
in.
Yeah, the Deuce guy.
Ducey, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but the obstructions like back to back to back to back to to back.
The
You
objections?
guys are having fun. That's fine. Or the
Yeah. I was.
I can tell you two don't get along.
He was like,
I was just saying, if the
He's
judge
such a
doesn't
good
hear, you
ADA
shots
though. He's
everywhere.
probably the best one we've ever had.
you think so?
No, I will agree.
Oh,
with that.
God,
I
Sinclair.
agree. No, he's free.
Come on, Sinclair.
He's very good.
What about Ryan Hart, bro? She was a good ADA, bro.
Not as good as this guy, I don't think.
Ryan
was
is
not even our
good.
ADA for more than like
Ryan-
A day, right?
A week?
A
Or
day.
Yeah,
It was
she
like a
got-
day.
Yeah, they
Fired.
kind of
Trey was
stripped her
very
of-
good, but I think this guy's better. So.
I mean, Ash
Trey
was
was
good.
amazing.
What
Trey
about
had
Ash
some
was
issues
good
with
back in the day.
Ash? Oh, Ash was great back in the day.
Yeah, Ash was really good. Yeah.
I've never seen Ash work.
I would say I would put this guy here up there with probably like Ash back in the day. I mean, I'm gonna be real honest.
Remember when JC was our DA?
Much better than our.
That was the worst thing
our
ever.
DA.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie though, I had so much fun. Like I really enjoyed that. I've been wanting to do something like that for such a long time.
Who wears no shirt to a fucking courthouse?
Who wears what?
Who?
No shirt to a courthouse.
I got it.
Oh my.
Who don't wear shoes?
Chat real quick. Somebody
Aurora
thought I
was
was
Yeah, there's
complaining I was
motherfuckers that don't wear
being mean 'cause she
shoes.
didn't have
Ex-
money
yeah.
in the bank.
Don't
Tell
It's so stupid.
Hey,
People
Sinclair.
do.
Just tell him to leave.
So it's safe to say after this, you guys are gonna have a forensic procedure in place, right?
Where do you do?
Yeah. How's it going, Judge? I'll keep you safe. Don't worry.
Gotta love Sinclair.
No.
You don't have a
you're
black shirt.
shirtless.
You're shirtless.
He actually sees a black shirt.
I see a shirt. I don't know.
Hey, what did I tell you? Even if we
Yeah,
don't
so
win, we
have to ask you
won.
to Put a shirt on and come back.
Hey,
Oh,
why
I'm
is
not worried
Sinclair
about
up there?
Hey,
Okay.
the judge is back. Everybody
I'm
shut
worried
the
about
hell
being
up.
called broke.
So why are you over there?
Nobody's gonna call you broke. I told them
I think you
that
got
there at
something
the
in your
end, like
hair,
it wasn't about the
Sinclair.
money. So
I do. Gum.
Weird.
Recess
no,
has
no.
been concluded.
Oh,
I'll
gum,
give
not
a few moments for all
Oh.
parties
Oh,
to
shit.
get themselves ready to receive my verdict.
After.
Wait, when?
No, you're not there yet. Just keep going.
Mr. Benitez, I ask you get off your phone, please.
I didn't even realize. I'm sorry.
Pull it out again.
I didn't even realize. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Are both the plaintiff and defense ready?
Yes, we're ready, Your Honor.
We are ready.
Plaintiff, you ready? All right. Today, Mr. Benitez, you were here to prove, as you stated in your civil suit claim, false arrest, false imprisonment, defamation, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress. So I will start off on that list. As it seems that Miss Onyx was never arrested, purely detained, the false arrest, false imprisonment is not
Pissing me off.
applicable. Defamation, as the defense stated, Miss Onyx, while reformed possibly, has an extensive rap sheet.
No.
So
And you could use that against her.
it's
Okay.
hard to prove that she has been defamed in any way that she hasn't already been defamed by her previous crimes. Negligence, you have not been able to prove that PD was negligent in any way. An intentional infliction of emotional distress, again, I have not seen any evidence of that. I don't even believe you brought it up. So if we're sticking to the false detainment, it is my belief that PD had reasonable suspicion to detain Miss Onyx. Obviously, through the means of their investigation, they could not come
get
up with
content.
enough evidence until
Boo.
Miss Onyx was released.
Boo.
My verdict is in favor of the state, the defense. I will move
Arrest
on
second.
to the counterclaim placed by the defense. One moment.
Alejandro.
Hey, it's okay.
The
We know what happened.
defense places. Mr. Benitez, I would suggest you listen to what I'm saying, just for a moment, and then you can talk to your client. The defense has placed a civil suit of $25,000 in punitive damages. I am going to not allow that. The defense will not receive any payment in regards to this case as punitive damages. I make this decision because I believe that it is unfair for Miss Onyx to be penalized in this situation, and that she needs to come out of pocket. I don't believe that should occur. I believe that she may be represented by someone who, at least in this situation, isn't as professional as DOJ would like them to be, so she should not be penalized for that. The injunctive relief request, I will approve. I ask that Miss Onyx, her legal counsel, or anyone associated is not to speak publicly through any means available negatively about this case. I don't want to see any birdie posts. I don't want to see any just public negative discussion about this case. And that is my verdict. My verdict is in favor of the defense.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. I hope you have a great day. All right, let's ride.
About that.
My freedom of speech is not stopped. Fuck y'all. Like my dick too.
Yo.
We have time to check Birdie.
He's out on the run somewhere.
Who was it?
Yeah.
The doors are still locked, sir. The doors are still locked.
I can't say nothing about the court. They can lick my dick. How about that?
The doors are still locked.
Have a seat, brother. Have a seat, brother. Have a seat.
For it.
Yep.
Experience. I'm sure that had my medical expert been allowed to answer a few more questions.
Did you use that?
We won without winning, brother.
Good court case.
Oh no, are you okay?
Yeah, you gotta have. Shit. Yeah, you gotta have.
Oh my God, you're so hurt, man.
Better tell him. No, they will. He has to completely hide. Yeah, I don't
Doc,
know.
help
I
me.
don't know.
Them too. Oh, that's great. This guy's just going on a stabbing spree.
I don't know. Nobody stabbed her. She just dropped. Oh, I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't see anybody stab her is what I'm saying. I just saw her fall.
Yeah.
Judo!
Yo, Jordan, who won?
Not us.
It's okay.
Or not Jade.
Not
That's such
us.
bullshit.
Nobody won. It's just a case of nothingness.
All right, I got a tourniquet on there for you, Doc.
Thanks, brother.
A whole lot of bullshit. And
It's
they
all
ain't
good.
gonna my freedom of speech. I'm gonna talk my talk.
We're getting static in here, baby, or what?
Tell me.
More of a case if you would have came to actual pillbugs with your distress.
It's all right, Doc. It's all right, cause you know, our goal was to wipe the floor with them, and I think that Jade would agree we did just that.
Right, I'm injecting her with morphine. You want me to put
Hey,
the
we're
fentanyl?
gonna have someone there
so-
right now.
Wait,
on the
Mr.
stand.
Benito. So how was she not falsely imprisoned by
Well,
the judge? Like what the judge said.
They think that they had enough reasonable suspicion to
even though they, even though
quote, detain me.
even though I proved that they failed to follow their own SOPs, but whatever. Like, they proved it themselves. They said that they didn't have a gun and they didn't GSR her. Like, so, I mean, whatever.
Well, you both know, right, that this was the only case of its kind and it's never been heard of again for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not our fault, Doc.
Neither is it their fault because the city fucked up.
I think that they could have been a little bit better prepared for that. I mean, it is.
It was literally the tsunami that this happened was the tsunami that got put in place. So nobody knew what that meant, whether if there was a fingerprint left on the shell casing or what.
See, I understand that, but my argument to that is,
like, that's not her
it's
fault.
like it's not their fault and it's not my fault, but had I gone to prison for that, had we not sat there and argued for 20, 30, 40 minutes about how that was not okay, I would have gone to prison for that and I wouldn't have gotten any kind of compensation because it would have just been like, oh, well, it's the city's fault, it's not your fault.
No,
When it's the other way around, then it's like,
but if
you know?
if that would have happened, you would have had more of a case.
Hey, you guys mind taking the conversation away from Juno? He's
All of
stressing
that would
out.
have happened.
Dexter, do you have any fentanyl? I don't have any.
I have.
Well, that's how it's got to be done. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
That's how it's
in my
done
opinion, that's
most
dumb
times,
because
too.
their only evidence was
I don't
that,
have fentanyl, you
and they
guys.
didn't get nothing
I
else,
got it,
and
I'm
they don't
on.
get penalized for not having any other evidence. They had a whole warrant, did not issue the
Oh,
warrant.
cancel
Like,
your
come
fentanyl, doc. Ooh.
Too late.
Huh? Huh?
Hey, you want to go party?
Party?
Gonna go party with all our friends?
Party where?
Wherever.
We can.
Allie?
It might be Danielle might be flying in.
Who?
My cousin.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know who she is, bro. You're the only girl for me.
Oh really?
Benio, I'm actually here to say that's a lie, and he was cheating on you.
Oh
with
shit!
Danny, and I
Here we
caught
go.
it.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah.
That's
yeah. You didn't think I was here,
fucked
right,
up.
Benio? Yeah.
I fucking forgot.
I used to witness it with my eyes. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what?
I was there.
I understand about keeping it in the family. I try to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. He basically forgot you even existed.
No, I didn't say I forgot you even existed. Baby, stop. No, that's not true.
What just happened?
That's not true. I didn't cheat on you with your sister. That's absurd.
Okay, so if I ask her, then what? Did you?
I didn't cheat on you with your sister. We just hung out.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
So
we don't, but
she wasn't on your back or anything?
Amelia, I seen them kissing. I seen them
Yo,
kissing.
is this Gabby? Yeah or nay?
Yay. Why?
Okay, which female here put the fentanyl in her arm?
Alpha
And
2
whose
to
arm?
220.
In Juno.
I don't know.
I did.
Or actually,
I'm
Brayden,
not.
you can
I'm not
get a
EMS. My
warrant written
cousin
up on
is.
Alejandro the Dutch.
All right, you might get in trouble. So
It's okay.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have it on you. And
Flex your ex.
Right away, right away.
yeah, cause she already took Doc to the
Oh,
side.
No. Come here. You're gonna be fine. Baby, you're gonna be fine. Relax. You're gonna be fine. They're just gonna tell you not to do it anymore. They told me today in my eval.
Yeah, but they were like asking people if they have fence. So I was like, I have fence.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
then someone else
You
went,
were
like,
literally
the
just
same
clocked in, right, or something? That's it. Just like, oh, I was clocked in and I came to the court case. That's it. Like, no big deal. You'll be fine, okay?
Yeah. Mm.
Come on, let's get out of
What do
here.
you want to do? Hell yeah.
How did I do?
Imprisonment, you went to a jail cell in handcuffs, and they questioned you for how many? 40 minutes?
Probably.
If they're gonna
longer.
question,
I
they
don't
do
even
it.
know, to
They
be
do it on
honest.
scene. They just are on scene. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like I said, I think it's like I told Jay, like, the Chief Justice is from Australia. So I don't think she's familiar with. And then what's crazy is that I asked her, OOC, if I can bring up the Constitution of the United States. And she said yes. And then she changed her mind during court. And like I kept catching her flip-flopping on what she said. Like I would, like, for example, like when I put Jade's psychological state into the scope and she put it into the scope, and then when I went to go ask questions about it, she like didn't let me. I'm like, yo, you were the one that put it into the scope, not
Yeah,
me.
because you were asking about Jade's like opinion, not her opinion on
Other
anybody
people.
else,
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
that should have been, you know.
yeah, I'm glad that Sinclair was there, because like I said, like I'm not happy how she was. Like I don't even care if they didn't rule in our favor. Like I know that I proved the case. So
Yeah, 100%. That shit, I don't know, that's stupid.
yo, but I was cooking that guy, dude.
I think we needed Jade to have 2 attorneys and or lawyers, and it would have been you and Skippy, so she would understand.
No. No, Your Honor, please.
Oh, and what the fuck? I can't post about the court? Like, what kind of shit is that? That's
Yeah,
so
that's
stupid.
infringement on your First Amendment rights, but whatever.
It is. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I don't think she even knows like freedom of
she
speech.
told me, she was like, between you and me, she's like, we're not gonna come after it, but I went in there with coke on me. I fucking forgot.
I want 25K. Suck my dick. You got 25 bullets to your head.
Apparently, they're gonna countersue.
That no, they tried. They said no.
Oh, they were just talking about it again right there. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Ignore that.
It's well within the the statute of limitations because they would have had 14 days. Well, it's not well, but they're gonna have only a few more days because I filed this suit like let me see when I filed the suit.
It was like last like Thursday or something. Because I remember you were like, "Can you do it the next day?" And I was like, "No."
A lot of bologna sandwich, man.
Okay, so he has. He has until this Friday to file his countersuit and have it be approved by the judge.
Bro, like, how did she not see they just didn't do the agent job, bro? Like, I don't.
Because, bro, she has to have their back too. I think. I mean, I don't know, bro. She was like I said, like Jay pointed out, like she doesn't like me very much, and it's because I'm too like I interpret the law the way that it should be interpreted, and not only.
Yeah, you're one of those lawyers that get on ass. You feel me? And I know she was getting annoyed the whole time of it,
Mhm.
which I knew it probably would have affected her answer. It probably did, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, like I told the other guy, like, what do you expect me just to stand up here and not do my job?
No,
Yeah.
it was a funny as fuck though. That motherfucker, like, when Jade went up, he only asked her what her name was. Didn't get to ask anything else. Shitted on.
I told you, Jade. I said, Jade was like, but we didn't practice. And I'm like, bro, I got you. You're not gonna have to answer anything.
Yeah, I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what I'm gonna have to say. I don't know what I was stressing, and he was like, "Nah, you're not gonna say anything. Don't worry." And I was like, "Okay."
Nah, I feel like I cooked them, and I'm happy.
No, you definitely did. Like, obviously, he's gonna walk away with a big head because he's like, "Oh, we won. Like, we got that. Like, blah blah blah, whatever." You know. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
he looks like a fucking idiot. I'm not gonna lie.
On God. What's up,
Hey,
bro?
sir.
Who's this?
It's Ali. What's good?
Oh, what up, Ali?
You better watch out, bro.
Who?
Ali.
Why? He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm their kid.
Yeah.
I'm Jordan, and well, that's my stepmom type shit.
Ooh.
But
All right.
Jordan's my
Well,
dad,
we're gonna go
so-
party. You guys want to join us?
Fuck it, yeah.
My goodness.
That was bullshit, man. Where's the judge at? Jumping that bitch at.
It's
Where's the
okay.
judge at?
I'm not really worried about it, to be honest. I wasn't going in
Where's the
there.
judge at? Tell me where the judge at.
I have no opinion on
No,
that.
where's she at? Where's she at?
I have no opinion. I am reformed. I do not do criminal activities.
There you
anymore.
go.
And I would never wish anybody to do
Hey.
criminal activities.
You're right. I'm gonna do it on my own.
Oh.
Okay.
Yo, let's get out of here. Let's fucking party. Fuck this case. We already did what we were meant to do.
On God, in my heart, we won. Fuck.
Hell yeah, that's it. That's all that matters.
Stupid bitches, I hate them all.
Baby,
Yeah.
I gotta fly in a steady.
Oh, okay. Te dejo en el parque. Do I leave you in do I leave you at a garage or?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, baby.